Hey everybody, Arthur here with another unboxing video. Today we have the Legends series, and this is the Marvel Studios first 10 years, and this is Ant-Man. And this 2-pack I really wanted, and I actually ended up scoring it for only $33, which was it was worth it to me, because this guy alone, definitely $20, and paying $13, less than normal Legend for that Ant-Man, definitely not a bad deal, because some of these 2-packs that are coming out, like you got the Captain America, you got the the Crossbone 2-pack. The villain is really the only thing that I would really want. It's okay, Captain America, you get the the helmetless head and all that stuff. It's cool and all, but it's really the villain. Just like what shines in this package, Yellowjacket. It looks gorgeous in hands. Like, pictures don't give it justice. Now, it comes in that typical Marvel Studios style packaging, celebrating the first 10 years. And on the top, it says Marvel Studios. On the side here, you get some awful blurry, and it's actually sort of looks like that on there. So you get some artwork. Guess drawn scenes from the film. Then on this side, we do have some read up here about 2015 Ant-Man. Pause it at your language. There we go. Got some artwork right here and some more read up information. Let me go ahead and get this to focus a little bit cleaner. So definitely a lot of reading on this, a lot of writing on the box. I'm going to say this right now. Get up, go into your car, drive to the closest store that has this 2-pack, and definitely pick it up. Just taking the figures out of the package, oh man, it is very underrated, at least in my eyes. I was like, I'm going to sleep on this first 10 years stuff, because some of them are pretty whack, but getting these guys out of the package, I'm like, holy crap. These are awesome. You need that Ant-Man. Even if you already have Ant-Mans. You might have 50 Ant-Mans. You need that one. It just makes things consistent. And the Yellowjacket is just phenomenal. But before I dive into the figures themselves, they did come with accessories. And we are starting with this little guy. Focus. Come on. Do I need to bring it out more? There we go. We have Yellowjacket. This is a miniature that we've already seen before. That came with the first Ant-Man we received. And here is the one that came with the first Ant-Man. You can see really the difference. And this one has silver. And it was definitely like, hey, we don't know really what the costume is going to be about. And then you got this one. So has still a little bit of silver on the back there, but definitely a very cleaner version of this one. But now I have two. They could battle. Chow, 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 or whatever. Then we get another Ant-Man. So you come with this little dude. He's very chromed head, red, there's a couple different paint colors going on, silver, red, and silver. And then we get the one that came with Ant-Man. And they're pretty much the same. This one's more of a glossier, brighter red. This one's more of a darker red. And they're both sculpted the same. So if you still have Anthony, the new one does ride on Anthony. So definitely not bad. Like, if you don't even want to use these as like a figure, or it's like him growing, these make good Marvel Legends toys, like as if they have action figures themselves. Now we have the Paul Rudd head, and it's not the first time we got the helmetless version. We got the Ant-Man and Wasp one with the nice little smirk, but this guy seems to have a little bit of a beard going on, sort of like a 5 o'clock shadow. You can see a little bit of stubble and everything. He doesn't have the really long chin that the other one had. And I mean, it's not a bad head sculpt. It looks like him. But I really, really like the other head because of the smirk. This is just sort of like, eh. It's head and his lips. I don't know. Something still seems off a little bit. But I do like the other one better. But it's cool to have options. Then we dive into Ant-Man himself. A lot of you are like, I already have the first one. Why do I need this one? Well, one, your first one doesn't have these menacing, hands on them. I love the hands. The hands on this guy look so good. And they might have been on the original. We will see once I do a review, or not a review, but a comparison, because we're going to do that. I'm going to bust out all my Ant-Men and put them out. But I love these hands. I just really like the sculpt, the detail. They're just really sort of menacing and just can be used in so many different ways. And his head sculpt is a lot cleaner, and just everything about these figures that you get, they're basically the quality we should get when it comes to Legends in general. The extra paint, the attention to detail, because this guy has a whole new looking head sculpt, or at least the lower part. But again, we will do a comparison. And I love just the detail on the head sculpt. I mean, got these little like hose things right here. Paint is clean as can be. And you got little speckles here, I guess, but that's more of the sculpt, I think. The plastic I really like because this is a matte plastic. It is not super glossy. Yeah, a little bit of mess up there. But that is something I really like too, is the fact that he is not in a super shiny plastic. It's a matte plastic. He can look down like so, and he can look up like so. I mean, it's, get a really good down motion, but going up, even though the peg can technically go that far, his helmet's not going to allow it. So that's his articulation with his head, and then he has some ab crunch that goes down this far. Nothing too crazy. Nice thing is not too much of a gap unless you really angle it, but the striping or the piping goes all the way up. A little bit scratch on the silver, but no big deal. He can go back only that far. Still looking clean, which is great. And his arms go up. It's typical Marvel Legends. You get the bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist rotation, wrist bend. He's got the cool little gauntlet things going on. Like, they put the proper thickness of paint because of the original one, the red just didn't seem thick enough. Then he has his little utility belt, which is very, very nice. And, it's casted in a silver plastic, it looks like, or it might have been painted. Either way, it looks nice, and I love the little red dots and stuff. It just adds a lot to it. And he does have a waist swivel, which this waist swivel I like. Even though he's turning, he doesn't really have much of a bookshelf hips because of this belt. He can do the splits as far, thigh cut. It just breaks that pattern, and it doesn't make me happy. He does have a double jointed knee, and he can only bend it forward this much for his ankle, and you can do it this way, and he has a pivot. It's trying to focus on Yellowjacket back there, but yeah, if you can see, when I go to move it upward, it's the armor on the top of the boot touching his shin armor. So that's a disappointing part. But other than that, I mean, this thing is awesome. Like, he's just ready to throw down. But let's go ahead and take a look at Yellowjacket. Yellowjacket is super sexy. He comes with this backpack, which I will look at that first because it is technically an accessory. It just came equipped. It has a peg hole for the back. You got these little antennae up here that are painted very, very nicely. Look really cool. They are articulated. They can rotate completely around, and they have little hinges, which is pretty awesome. So articulation in those. Then we get these awesome, well, I mean, first off, the backpack looks fantastic. Sculpt, paint, looks great. 3 points. One here, and it rotates. So you get to bend these guys down. You know, they can go only so far that the plastic allows them. And besides this part bending, you get a bend right there and a rotation. You can even rotate it here. So I guess rotate, bend, and rotate, bend. I wish we had one more like here. But this thing is just gnarly. It's really, really like this backpack. So, I mean, you can get those poses when he's on them, you know, articulate it. But even this has a hindrance of this spot. When it hits, it can't go up any higher. So you really got to, you know, play around with it, get into some cool poses. And what's crazy is, like, we get this backpack, has all this articulation in this piece right here. I almost feel like it's almost more articulation than Spider-Ham. And why couldn't they have done something like this for Doc Ock's tentacles? Like, look at how this is very hidden, how it's designed. You know, even when it bends, it looks really good. We could have used this technology on the Doc Ock tentacles. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, toss him in a 10-year, you know, box. I'd pay $5 more to have those articulated tentacles. You know, but enough about this. Let's take a look at the figure. This figure is gorgeous. I do have a little bit of a paint mess up right there on the nose. That is unfortunate, but it's okay. I love the visor with the clear plastic. It's straight up reminds me of like Mass Effect mixed with Dead Space, mixed with Halo, mixed with Destiny, mixed with just freaking everything. It just looks so good. The sculpt on the helmet is fantastic throughout. I mean, it's just a very sexy figure. Like, the detail they put right there, the texturing throughout this figure is insane. Articulation wise, he can look up like so. He can look down quite a bit. His arms, ooh, that didn't feel good. So it can go up. That arm actually almost popped out. Goes up that far. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. There we go. Get the wrist rotation and bend. But look at the texture. Look at that. It's so simple yet good, and the paint is so crisp. Even on the gauntlets, even the hands, like, again, I love these open palmed hands. They just look really, really nice. They could have slapped on some fists or something, but they're sculpted very well. Very, very well. Then we got this fist hand. They could have gave us two of these, which paint's not the cleanest, but still it's on there. And just an awesome looking figure. And his arch is ab crunch, not so much. He can lean back though, but it sort of leaves a little bit of gappage, some weird design. I don't get why they did that, but he doesn't really go forward at all, like barely. He has bookshelf hips. I mean, you can sit here and take the new Ant-Man and just sort of chill him right on the hip. You know, you get what I'm saying. Like, I just don't like that. Then we get the crotch piece, sculpted nicely. And he, too, is done in a matte black plastic. Not too excessive shine on it. I mean, you see the light hitting it, and it's not overly glossy and shiny. His legs are sculpted nicely. He does have a hip swivel, but it's, or not hip swivel. He can kick up like so. Double jointed knee. But what's nice is the thigh swivels, what I was referring to. This part's all sculpted. You know, it's almost like a strap, like holster looking thing. But his leg pivots there. So yes, it breaks the sculpt, like the design a little bit, right? But in reality, if this was like a pant-like material and you did move, this would shift a little bit, and it looks a lot cleaner than to just breaking the actual design. Feet, bend, pivot, you know, very, very nice. Like, it is insane. Even has a, all right, so it rotates, bends, and we have a pivot. You can see the ball joint down there. That is fantastic. Got the nice yellow on the tips. I'm just like, I am geeking out because I like this figure a lot. Like a whole lot. Don't know why his arm is. Okay, it's just how it's designed. I was like, oh man, it's breaking. But he's a solid figure. Like, he has some weight to him. But I mean, you can go ahead and pop this thing back on him. You know, really position, you know, how you want his stuff to be. So you can have it down below, up top. Very cool stuff. So I'll pose them up, and I'm going to grab some other Ant-Man. Here we got Ant-Man, and then you can just really have him growing up, like getting big. And now it's comparison time. We have ourselves Moonhead Smirkface Paul Rudd versus, ouch, ouch, I stubbed my toe. Side by side, I think this looks more like Paul Rudd. Plus, this is less shiny. This is, I need to wipe my oily face Paul Rudd. But you can see the chin difference between them. I'd rather deal with the Leno chin than greasy face. I think that just it's a better face, even though Paul Rudd's like, it doesn't really look like me. I don't think he would say this one looks much like him either. And that's not the only comparison. We do have the old original Ant-Man versus the new one where they reused the body. You can see there's no texture on this body. There's texture throughout this one. His belt's more dry brushed. This one's more silver. And the helmets are pretty close to being the same. Like I said, they must have just took this design and then sculpted over the mouth. And then they pretty much, yeah, other than that, I mean, they pretty much kept everything else pretty identical. I wish they would have painted the orange like this one, which the red was throughout this one. Don't really get to see that. You can see the really shiny plastic on them too, versus the matte plastic. And then he has the old style legs just like him. He just has a little bit more paint love. But yeah, pretty much identical figures. And I noticed that he has the cool hands I was all going crazy over. And that sums up my unboxing and review of the first 10 years Legend Series Ant-Man. If you like what you saw, please hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new to my channel, as I'm going to keep pumping out content. And if you want to stay up to date on your latest imports and collectibles, make sure you guys check out the 2 Facebook groups down below, Toyco Toys and Collectibles. One's for pre-order, one's for socializing with the community and fellow collectors. And always check out Toyco Toys and Collectibles website, which is down below. Use promo code UNBOXTOYCO, all in caps, to save yourself 5% off your entire purchase. And I want you guys to have the best luck hunting, keep on collecting, and have a beautiful day.